Hello and welcome to the newest Parc'd Up episode. It is episode 14, episode Fernando Alonso. And we are recording on his birthday, so happy birthday, Fernando Alonso, which I think is a really weird coincidence.
How old is he turning? 43?
Like 90.
19.
He's one of the youngest on the grid.
Yeah, turning 19, wow. So young and so
after
youthful.
after the testing incident, he just resetted, so...
Yeah, totally reset.
But we've got a lot to get through today. So firstly, we're going to be going through, obviously, the iconic London E-Prix season finale for Formula E in season 10. Obviously, we were there. So we've got even more that we found out. There's a lot to get through, even with just Formula E. We also have the Hungarian Grand Prix for Formula 2, Formula 3 and Formula 1. Don't know why I went in that order, but here we are. And then Spa, which happened last weekend for F1, F2, and penultimate round for Formula 3, where we saw Prema crowned as team's champion. So a lot to get through, a lot of action, and a lot of drama, and yeah, so much to get through. So let's get started on the London E-Prix. Race 1. It was chaos. It was truly chaos.
Alice, why you're wearing that jumper? Did a driver from that team cause any carnage? Maybe.
Maybe.
He was the most entertaining of the entire weekend.
He got
Entertaining's the word. Maybe like actually insane.
He got 3 penalties, right? 20 seconds worth of penalties before... No, he didn't even end his race. He just ended everyone's race. And
yeah, he finished. He was great.
We just did a little video which will come up later, so you'll see that later. But we saw... Can I spoil it? Yeah, I can spoil it. So London E-Prix is the E-Prix with the most DNFs, and I don't think that's a coincidence with how he was behaving in that race.
This man started right round. What was it? Round 15? No, round 16. Round 15. 15. Started round 15 on 0 penalty points. The man ended round 15. So one race, it was like. It was extended, but it was like 20 odd laps. Finished round 15 on 6 penalty points. So this man, he got
It's impressive.
It definitely is.
So this man has to go an entire year, so like an entire season, and basically hope that he doesn't get 6 penalty points because then that's a race ban.
he could enter his Pierre Gasly era.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly didn't get a race ban. Jake Dennis might.
High chance. Yeah,
Very
so
close.
Jake, who actually finished in 16th, like he didn't even like finish with decent points. He was just on a vendetta. He couldn't win London again, so he was on a vendetta to not kill everyone, because that's a big
It's
allegation.
like, I don't win,
kill
no
everyone.
one wins it.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprising, but yeah, the championship fight kind of got a little bit spicy in that race. Yeah, so Pascal won that race, which is where we were kind of like, ooh, or maybe it's not going the way we want it to go. Well, personally.
Well, yeah, because...
Mitch came second, and Buemi third. Nick Cassidy nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, because going into the race weekend, Nick was P1, Pascal Wehrlein was P2, and Mitch was P3. Pascal and Mitch were both on the same points, but with Mitch then taking pole position, he was bumped up to P2. Pascal Wehrlein was in P3 going into that race on Saturday, and Pascal Wehrlein left the race on Saturday leading the championship.
I think the main thing that like sealed that race, at least like championship wise, was qualifying. Nick Cassidy qualified 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even like, did he have an issue? Was it an issue?
I think so. He wasn't happy in the car.
Steering. Yeah, they I mean, that's the thing. Neither Jaguars were very happy in their car this weekend. And I mean, quite early on when we were watching FP1, we were stood by the side of just outside the XL, and we were like, "Oh, that Jaguar is bottoming more than every other car.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right." And I literally said, "I was like, no, that's if it was maybe like a teeny bit more than the rest, but it was noticeably a lot more than the rest."
If you thought Mercedes bottoming was bad, you should have seen Nick Cassidy's car.
He was porpoising, basically.
They brought basketball
so
to the
really...
XL. Sorry. I was very sad for Nick Cassidy, I'd like to point out. Out of the 7 drivers going into the London weekend, he was one of the drivers I was really hoping was going to do it, especially after London last year.
Yeah.
He had a hard time.
He did.
I think a lot of the paddock agreed with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another driver who was stripped of his championship hopes and dreams in Saturday.
By the hero on Sunday.
Yep. And also by his closest contender in the championship at the time as well, Oliver Rowland. I can't remember what happened now. Drove Antonio into the wall.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically. Was it final corner?
There was the corner like this, and Antonio was coming around like this, and then it just... took both of them out. Oliver Rowland kept going. They both pulled out and kept going. But Antonio, I'm pretty sure they said he had suspension damage of some sort and physically could not continue on in the race and had to retire. And thus championship hopes and dreams were gone. He physically had to win that race to stay in the race.
Yeah.
And he had some fairly strong words to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about it.
No.
Which you can't blame him.
Honestly, no, I was going to say, you wouldn't be able to.
The left Saturday with only 3 drivers left in contention.
Also, Sebastian Buemi had his children up on the podium, and it's adorable.
Oh, it was so cute.
It was so cute.
Their little race suits.
Yes, they were all like envision suits. It was so
really trying to grab the microphone as well during the interview with Nikki, and it just killed me. It was so cute.
Nice.
That was only his second podium of the year. That third
Which
place.
for a double champion is surprising. He's double champion.
No.
Oh, see, I always think this.
Eric Byrne, thank you very much.
I always think this. Okay, but he was almost double champion until
he wasn't.
Degrassi.
Sorry.
And until Degrassi batterseed him.
Yeah. So maybe he was getting revenge just on the wrong person last year. Lucas Degrassi took away Buemi's chance to the championship, so Buemi took away Nick Cassidy's chances of the championship. Yeah, that was an eventful time last year. I think Jake Dennis saw the drama from Saturday's race last year and the fact that he wasn't involved and was like, oh, maybe I could bring the drama this year.
Well, he did say to Chloe, didn't he? He was like, well, I don't have a chance of winning the championship. I might win a race. So he was already going into the race weekend with like...
Yeah, even though he, still going into London, had full chance of getting the championship.
I mean, he just didn't believe he did.
Yeah, which is crazy, wild. I was trying to say both at the same time. I think even
it's interesting to have that mindset going into the weekend. Like, a lot of drivers you'd meet would just go into the weekend like, well, I'm going to try my best. But he was like, no, we're not winning.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Very interesting. The out of the top 10 in the championship, only 4 drivers finished. Well, only 4 drivers placed in the points in Saturday's race. Out of the top 10 in the championship.
And it was
Pascal Wehrlein, who won, Mitch Evans, who finished P2, and Stoffel Van Dorn, who finished P9, and Nick Cassidy finished P7.
Wow.
Oliver Allen 15th, Jean-Eric Verne 17th, Antonio retired, Jake Dennis P16, Gunther retired, and Friends retired.
Yeah, Robin's hand. We haven't even...
Yeah.
If you've seen the photo...
No, please.
Yummy. I think the issue is like... There's clearly been issues with... I don't know whether it's issues with the steering wheel or drivers having no brains. But sometimes when you get into incidents... I mean, usually the first advice you get is take your hands off the steering wheel.
Sorry, it just reminded me of Sam Bird.
Which he then decided to give himself that advice for previous in the season. But obviously, Robin had surgery on his arm. Was it last season?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, no. Never mind. No. What I was going to say, I think was incorrect. So
I'm pretty sure it was last season. Let's have.
Yeah, pretty sure it was.
Did he miss out on any races? Robin
I can't
Friends,
remember. I
yes,
just know
he retired from Mexico City and was out for Diriyah, Hyderabad, and Cape Town.
Which is, hefty. And he spoke about this season saying that it actually, he found that injury has affected his driving style and kind of his mindset when he gets into the car. So for him, for us to then find out that he had to go to the medical centre after that crash was, my heart was beating, kind of.
I found it. Degrassi led away at the start before the race was interrupted twice. At Cooper's, Robin Friends ran into the back of Norman Nato's Nissan, putting them both out of the race and breaking Robin Friends' wrist before Sam Bird's Jaguar stopped to bring out another safety car.
I thought he raced for Cooper.
Yep, that's.
He's just always been it envisioned for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to know that he was obviously, he tries to be careful in the car, and then for him to literally go to the medical centre, I was worried. It seemed like he kind of we didn't officially find out what has happened. We were under the impression something was broken. We then found out it was not, or maybe it was, and they were just not saying anything. Which is also a high chance. What we saw was there was some sort of, it looked like a graze, but you couldn't really tell. He had a cut at the top, and his hand was swollen over. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the thing that it made me think of was Callum Ilot's hand when he broke his hand, and it looks quite similar. But we saw him in the media centre. We're but yeah, not great.
No, able to complete both races, but
at what cost?
Yeah. Well, he got points on Sunday, so
He did a decent job, didn't he?
Yeah.
7th.
I think they definitely whacked that man on a whole bunch of painkillers and went, you got 5 laps.
You have a break after this, so you can recover now.
He got through the FIA medical checks fine. So.
Yeah, he did, to be fair. So.
That's why I said, maybe he was fine and we just not misheard.
Well, he had it, Kinsella taped, is it? The tape we use.
K-tape. That's what I just call it because I can't say it.
K-tape on his hand when he was driving.
Which he kind of... I think he usually does since the first incident.
Maybe.
Since his original crash.
Yeah, it's probably got some ligament and muscle damage in his hand.
Surely.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Which I think maybe we need to get our medical friends on to analyse it, because obviously it happened at Sam Bird. Also happened with Daniel Ricciardo in Zandvoort. And also happened with one of the GB4 drivers this weekend. She had an incident and she's injured herself because I don't know whether she just didn't let go of the steering wheel, but it made me interested.
What you got to think is all the bones are really small in your hand anyway. When you get to your fingers and up towards your wrist,
Metatarsals, yeah.
Yeah. So when all that force going through your hands, it's going to find the weakest place, and all the force is just going to snap the bone. So I think a lot of the time it's not so much like the contact of their hand with like the car, it's more the force, like the G-force that's going through their body. It goes to the car.
And also your scaphoids are like
it's
not like weak, but they're teeny.
Yeah, metacarpals. Carpals? Yeah, metacarpals, carpals. Yeah, your metacarpals are pretty not great. Phalanges. Naomi first of all called them metatarsals, and I'm like, he broke his foot?
It's because I broke my metatarsal, but that's in my foot. So
I remember it's carpals for the hand, and I remember this is carpal because you get carpal tunnel here. But I remember it's tarsals because T for toes. So it's metatarsals.
I don't know if you heard my mum sneezing that.
It's like a crumple zone on a car. If you have the force going through a car, it finds the weakest spot in the car.
Cell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely that they're going to break a bone in their hand as opposed to like their forearm or
the ulnar or the radius.
Yeah, the ulnar or the radius or like the humerus is like it's not as likely as your hand, just purely for the fact that they're stronger bones than what's in your hand. It might be intact, but
you need a pretty hard shunt to break one of these.
Yeah.
And then qualifying for the second Formula E round of the weekend was, I mean, well, considering as a fact that we weren't sure whether Nick Cassidy was going to be out there because they had some, was it steering issue that he had or brake issue? It was a suspension. I can't remember what it was. It was something
wrong.
There was an issue. So considering the fact we weren't sure that Nick Cassidy was going to be out there, and he then went on to get pole, his first and only pole of the season.
Yeah. What a day to do it.
Kind of slay.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. Obviously, we saw a lot of the his side of the Jaguar garage. Very happy, obviously. And you know, fair play to Maxi Gunter. He did a really decent job there.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised to see him do that well.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to him, obviously.
Well, it just goes back to what we were saying like, at the start of the season. At the start of the season, it was, Maserati just don't seem to be anywhere. Like, they don't seem to be well. And now we've got to the second half of the season, the end of the season, and Maserati is suddenly, like, qualifying in, like, the top 4 and scoring points. He got a podium. He
binned off both their drivers.
Do you want to hear what the worst part about that is? Maxi Gunther's first half of the season was severely better than his second half of the season in terms of finishing. So in Mexico City he took P4, Diriyah he took P7 and P9, Sao Paulo he took P9, and then Tokyo he won, and then took P3 in Misano for the first race, and then took his first non-point finish.
That bad of the season.
No, and then he took his first non-point finish in the second race in Misano where he finished P12, and then took P9 in Monaco, retired in both races in Berlin, and then took no points in the first round of Shanghai, finishing 21st. Finished P8 in the second round, retired the first round of Portland, and finished P8 in the second round of Portland, and then 2 retirements in London. So if you split it as what, you want 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Monaco was the halfway point. Up until Monaco, where he finished P9, he was in the points every single race bar 1, which was Misano race 2. From Berlin to London, so the final 4 double headers, he only finished in the points twice.
Oh, that's insane.
Took all of his retirements of the year in the latter part of the season.
Jesus Christ.
That's quite surprising, because...
Yeah, it really is, honestly.
Everyone wrote Maserati off at the beginning, even though Maxi was actually performing quite well.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, now we know that they've dropped both riders. I'm in MotoGP mode, clearly. It's the British Grand Prix this weekend. I'm very excited. And they ended up dropping both drivers, and they've re-announced today. Well, not re-announced, but they've announced today that it's going to be Stoffel, Van Dorn, and Jake Hughes, which is interesting. I mean, it's the same. I feel like, I know this sounds weird. I feel like it's the same like dynamic of like your Maxi Gunter is your Stoffel Van Dorn, your J. Hans Rubler is your JQs, like
just with a bit more experience.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean that's just because JQs did Formula 3 for about 10 years.
Do you know what I found most amusing? Right, is so when we interviewed Jake Hughes, he mentioned him doing F3 and F2, and then doing Formula E, and I cannot remember his exact quote. So if editing Alice's remembers, she'll insert it here.
You know, I come from Formula 3, Formula 2 before Formula E, and it's more of a normal style of racing, or at least everyone understands, I guess, that Formula E is very difficult for the driver, and you have to accept that you're a complete rookie, complete newbie, basically. You have to be willing to drop your ego to it.
But he said something along the lines of F2 and F3 being more sensible racing than Formula E.
Yeah, so it was like everyone was on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
So he has to get like used to the sort of the chaos and the mess. I don't, not quoting anything, but somewhere along the lines of that.
No, he said learning to accept how chaotic Formula E is was his. I don't know whether he said that was his aim or the main thing that he learned from this year, which is true.
Yeah.
The first thing any fan, especially with Formula E, learns that it's chaotic.
Yeah, this is the one thing, is that a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to watch my first Formula E race ever. And I'm like, okay, have you done research? And they're like, no, why? And I'm like, okay, have fun, good luck. It's just the way, I've never heard anyone say F2 and F3 is like, basically sensible, yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
I think considering how long he raced there for, I guess he not like he hasn't been a newbie in a while, but he hasn't. I mean, he learned to kart really late on. I don't know why my niche subject is clearly Jake Hughes' racing career.
He started.
Get me on Mastermind. Well, but he started karting from a birthday party, which I think is so random. But he was like, he was either like 7 years old or he was like literally a teenager.
No, he was a teenager. He was a full-fledged teenager. His first karting career summary starts from 2010. So he's 30, so 4 years older than me. So in 2010 he would have been 16 years old. So yeah, he started karting around 16.
I thought so.
16. That's
which
wild.
Is really, really late for a driver.
Yeah. And then he started GP3 in 2016 before moving up to F2 in the Parc'd in 2020.
Did he just stand in for Jake Hughes, Jack Aitken with George?
Jack Aitken with George?
When it was secure. Wasn't that what? Oh no, wait. Wrong year? No, wrong year.
Wrong year. I don't know why he was there.
Pretty sure he did step in for Jack Aitken as well.
No, Jack Aitken raced that weekend.
No, when Aitken stepped in for George when George went to Mercedes when Lewis had COVID.
Jake Hughes was part of that number 17 rotation, so where they had Alesi for the first 9 races, then Jake for round 10, and then Teo Porcher for round 11 and round 12.
I wonder how Jean Alesi, Giuliano Alesi is nowadays. I heard someone mention some like really random name as well in the FE weekend. I can't remember who it was now, and I was like, whoa, I haven't heard that name forever.
What year was the Secure? 2020?
21. I only remember because it was not 2020 because that was the year I got into F1. So it can't have been 21. It can't have been 2020. And because we did not go to Secure because of COVID, so we literally didn't go to any race outside of Europe, basically.
Okay, so Matteo Nannini did round 1. Jack Aitken did rounds 2 to round 4. Jake Hughes did rounds 5 to round 6, and then round 8, and Logan Sargent did round 7. The BWT rotation seat.
BWT?
HWA. Oh my god. HWA.
ART? Oh, it's HW. I was going to say, I was like, BWT is like that
Where
water
did I
thing.
read BWT? Oh, it's because he did because there used to be BWT HWA Race Lab. That's where I was getting BWT from. I was like, I swear they were BWT.
HWA.
BWT HWA.
HWA was the original Mercedes Formula E with Gary Paffett and whoever else was next to him. Probably Stoffel Van Dorn in that suit.
Ready for a history lesson. So
yes,
the season we're going back in time to is season number 5, the 2018 and 2019 FIA Formula E World Championship. Back then, Sam Bird and Robin Frijns were teammates for Envision. Alex Lynn replaced Nelson Piquet Jr. mid-season.
Great move by Nelson. One of his best.
And Jerome D'Ambrosio was still around.
Oh.
So
in his original Formula E state.
Yes.
So BMW entered Formula E as a manufacturer and partnered with Andretti. Mercedes affiliate HWA entered the championship and established a technical partnership with Venturi. The agreement sees HWA receive powertrains for the 2018-19 season, serving as the predecessor, is that the correct term? To Mercedes entry as a manufacturer team into the 2019-2020 season. That same year, Nissan entered the championship as a manufacturer, replacing partner company Renault in their partnership with Dams. And Techeetah switched from Renault to DS Automobile's powertrain, becoming DS Performance's partner. Meanwhile, Virgin Racing switched to use an Audi powertrain. Do you want to hear what the driver changes were for the season?
Yes, please.
Former Sauber, Ferrari and Williams Formula 1 driver Felipe Massa made his Formula E debut with Venturi, you know what I meant. Massa replaced Marco Engel. Tom Dillman moved to Neo to replace Luca Filippi. Nico Prost left Edam's team at the end of the 2017-2018 season.
His dad was his team principal.
Alex Sims made his race debut with BMW Andretti alongside regular driver Antonio Felix da Costa.
I miss Alex Sims.
Felix Rosenqvist,
Rosenqvist.
My God, left Mahindra Racing to join Chip Ganassi in the IndyCar series and replaced by former Manor and Sauber Formula 1 driver and 2015 DTM champion Pascal Wehrlein. It was announced that Rosenqvist will drive the opening round for Mahindra, though, in place of Wehrlein. Nick Heidfeld was replaced in the other Mahindra car by Jerome D'Ambrosio, who moved to the team from Dragon. Jerome D'Ambrosio in turn was replaced at Dragon. Robin Frijns returned to Formula E as a Virgin Racing driver, replacing Alex Lynn. Masters champion Gary Paffett made... Oh wait, hang on, missed a whole section there. Former McLaren Formula 1 driver and 2015 GP2 Series champion Stoffel Van Dorn and 2018 DTM Masters. Masters is the M. DTM champion Gary Paffett made their race debut with HWA.
I miss him.
FIA Formula 2 Championship driver Alexander Albon was originally due to drive for Nissan Edams, but was released from his contract less than 3 weeks before the start of the season to instead drive in the 2019 Formula 1 World Championship for Toro Rosso. Oliver Rowland, who drove one race in the 2015-2016 Championship for Formula E, replaced Alex Albon.
Oh my God.
That was everything.
What a crazy season.
No, it was a wild
What a crazy season.
It's actually crazy.
Oh.
No one was expecting the dominance that was then to come from the Mercedes team, I think, after that.
After that, yeah.
But it's
wild. Venturi provided them with an engine, and then that just completely got reversed. And
obviously, we said Nick Cassidy was on pole position. If I recall correctly, he dropped off quite quickly.
I think he did, yeah.
Well, he retired.
He did retire.
I think he also had an issue with attack mode, which is...
Attack mode and Jaguar were not friends in London. That's for sure. Antonio Felix da Costa clipped the back of Nick Cassidy and essentially ended his chances of the championship. Antonio.
I think they cried together after the race.
Yeah, Antonio
was very sweet.
Apologized for it. It wasn't intentional. It just happened, and it was one of these things that really couldn't be changed in the moment. It was a tight situation, and it is what it is. That was the race that we saw the most retirements, with Jake Dennis, Maxi Gunther, Sam Bird, Edo Mortara, and Jehan all retiring from the race. Oh, and Nick Cassidy. So 6 retirements.
R.I.P.
Yep. Jake Hughes was the last driver in the points, finished P10, to bid farewell to McLaren, as we mentioned earlier. Sebastian Buemi also had another good day. He finished P4, so good weekend all round for him. Better day for Jean-Eric Verne, he finished P5. Better day for Robin Fries as well, as he finished P7.
Really decent for him.
Nico Muller had a pretty stable weekend, finished P6 in both races. Do you know one thing we didn't mention about Saturday? The Mahindra boys.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nick de Vries finished P4 and Edo Mortara finished P5. The best result for the team for the entire year. A P4 and a P5. Edo finished P4 in Portland. So the highest finish for both Mahindra boys was both a P4 in the end. So it was Nick's highest finish of the year as well. Back to Sunday. Yeah, and then all hell broke loose for the championship drivers, as a lot of retirements meant many safety cars, and as they did on the Saturday, both Mitch and Pascal left their attack mode until as late as possible. And although the tactic worked on Saturday, it didn't work on Sunday, because if you know nothing about Formula E, in place of pit stops, they have something called attack mode, where the driver must come off the track to the attack mode area and cross all of the sensors in the attack mode to register the attack mode has been activated. And they get 6 minutes of that, and they have to take that in 2 intervals, so a 2 minute and a 4 minute, however they want to do it, right? They get free reign on that. And both Pascal and Mitch were leaving it until last. It's kind of where the strategy plays in. And with not a lot of time to go due to the safety car, both drivers, the second that safety car was gone, had to get their final attack mode, because your attack mode has to be complete when you cross the finish line. You cannot have any time on the clock for your attack mode when you cross the finish line, or it is a slam dunk disqualification. It's like if Formula 1 you don't take your pit stop, slam dunk disqualification. It's the same.
Or if you're underweight.
Well, we're not there yet.
Good. Okay.
In Formula E, you must complete all 6 minutes of attack mode. Even if you cross the line with a second left, disqualified. Both drivers go to take their attack mode to activate their last 4 minutes. Pascal's worked perfectly, and he went across all of the sensors to get attack mode. And sadly for Mitch Evans, he didn't manage to take attack mode correctly, and thus put himself at a very, very risky place, because there was barely 4 minutes left of the race after he was coming around onto his newest lap to take the attack mode. There was not the 4 minutes left that he needed to essentially get it. Obviously, he could take 4 minutes to finish the race, but that would mean he wouldn't be able to battle Pascal, because he would need to be going faster to attack. And even if he got ahead of Pascal, he wasn't going to be able to keep him behind, because Pascal didn't need to worry. He had an extra lap on his hands. And so Mitch took his attack mode the lap after that, and essentially had to slow down on his final lap to make sure he crossed the line without disqualification, meaning that Pascal finished P2 and Mitch finished P3, with Pascal winning the championship. However, race winner was Oliver Rowland, who I didn't actually see what happened. At this point, when these final few laps were going, we watched the podium from inside of the pit lane, so we had to make our way from where we were into the pit lane, and I just somehow missed it. I just looked up at the screen and was like, why is Oliver Rowland in front?
It's just all the chaos that happened, and he just managed to.
Yeah, because he overtook under the safety car as well, and then had to give the position back, and then have to regain it.
That sounds about right. And yeah,
Holy Rowland.
I do feel bad slightly for Oliver Rowland in the sense that his only other win of the season was in Misano due to Antonio Felix Costa getting disqualified. So this race was the only chance he got to stand on the top spot and celebrate being on the top spot. And that was always going to be overshadowed by the fact that Pascal Wehrlein had just won the World Championship.
Yeah.
He didn't get to park up in the P1 spot because Pascal Wehrlein, although he finished P2, got to park up in the P1 spot because he was world champion, because it was now the world champion spot and not the P1 spot. Yeah, I do feel bad for him in that sense. He did get to take his daughter up with him.
So cute.
The cutest thing ever.
We got to speak with Ollie after the race as well, and he was very grateful to be able to share that moment with his daughter, and it was absolutely lovely to see. There was more children on a podium than I've ever seen in my entire life this weekend.
It just sums up Formula E and London.
Yeah.
But mainly Formula E.
Yeah. But, yeah, and that ended the Formula E season. Now we've got so long to wait.
Yeah, personally, my highlight of the weekend was definitely Ollie winning. Like, I think you could just tell how much it meant for him, because especially, like, his seat isn't confirmed for next year, I'm pretty sure.
Hang on.
I don't know.
Not. I've got it up ready. Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, so you know how much it meant to him, and like when we spoke to him afterwards, he made us all very emotional by saying that when he thought of his daughter on the in-lap, he started crying. Which I think is the cutest thing ever. He is such a girl dad, and I'm just personally very happy for him. I think he deserves it. He was talking about how difficult his illness was before the Portland Prix, and how scary it was for him, and I think it's a complete round of applause to him and the Nissan team for being able to do it, because they've been okay this season. Obviously that win in Misano, not lucky, but everyone I think kind of agrees that it kind of should have been Antonio's. So yeah, really, really decent job for them in that last race.
Yeah, so we've got a really, really long wait now for Formula E to return November 3rd. Not that I'm counting or anything, but November 3rd. November 3rd is pre-season testing. By the way, not the race weekend start. The Formula E opening for season 11 is the same weekend as the Formula 1 and Formula 2 season finales. So it's going to be a very, very busy weekend. Me and CHELLE have actually started mid-discussing just some content that you guys will see leading up to the Formula E season opener and the Formula 1 season finale, and how you'll be able to work around watching all of those if you are planning on getting into Formula E next season. 10 out of 10, definitely do recommend, and you don't have to miss out on the Formula E season opener because of the Formula 1 season finale. We all know if you love motorsport, you'll do what you can do, but do keep an eye out on that. I'm pretty sure we're doing it over on the TikTok, so if you don't follow our TikTok, follow our TikTok, and you find out a little bit about that over there when we get to it. We're in the process of figuring it out.
Yeah.
If you think Formula 1 silly season is silly, you should hit Formula E's silly season, because in Formula 1 I feel like there is a level of loyalty. You have drivers that are very, very loyal to certain teams. I feel like Formula 1 is not as ancestral as Formula E.
Formally, everyone if we're talking, you say ancestral, if we're talking relationship, linguistics, formally everyone sleeps with everyone. So team-wise, team-wise.
As in, normally, if you say a name of a Formula E driver, they probably have been at least 4 Formula E teams in their career.
Oh,
yeah, honestly.
Currently, there is...
She's lagging. Hold on. Give her a minute. She'll get there.
No, I'm thinking about the fact that we literally said, what's going on with DS Penske? But apparently, according to Wikipedia, DS Penske's sorted.
Okay.
What about my little Google sheet? Is there something on the Google sheet? I'm very proud of my Google sheet, guys. I don't know if any of you guys seen.
I don't know. I feel this isn't definitely fully 100% confirmed. The link is just to the race interview. So
I've got one rumored for Penske at the moment.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, what we do know as well, I'll explain. So we know for a fact Pascal Wehrlein and Antonio Vinicius da Costa have signed for Porsche for another year. Both drivers were on multi-year contracts going into the season. Maserati today announced Stoffel Vandoorne and Jake Hughes will be their lineup. Stoffel Vandoorne leaving Maserati and Jake Hughes leaving McLaren. Jaguar TCS basically essentially confirmed that Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy were going to be their driver duo for next year.
And beyond.
And beyond. They mentioned that the Kiwi duo will be here and beyond. So Mahindra Racing, I'm pretty sure, well, on the Wikipedia it says Nick de Vries and Edo Mortara, but I was pretty sure they were both on multi-year contracts anyway when they signed to the team. Jean-Eric Verne for DS Penske and Jake Dennis for Andretti, and it also says on here that Maxi Gunther is signed for DS Penske as well. But I know for a fact that hasn't been confirmed.
Absolutely.
No, but it's basically happened.
It's basically confirmed. All of the others, according to Wikipedia, are TBA. The likelihood is that I believe it's basically practically confirmed that Sam Bird's with McLaren again. Practically confirmed that Oliver Rowland is with Nissan. Nico Muller is leaving at Cupra. That was announced.
Which apparently, the rumours are, he's heading to Andretti.
Yeah. Which would be interesting. I wonder if Norman would
I like Nico Muller, but I don't know why
Andretti of all teams. Yeah.
It's weird.
And the only other big news from season 11 so far that we got, obviously, we've got the Gen 3 Evo car. And Lola is returning to the top level of motorsport since the 1997 F1 World Championship. And they are at Cupra.
Yamaha.
Cupra. Lola Yamaha. Lola will enter Formula E developing its own powertrain in cooperation with Yamaha. I have beef with Yamaha, I think. Do I have?
You should, because they've been awful in Formula E in MotoGP this year.
I do have beef with Yamaha, right? I'm not wrong in saying that.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Okay, but I did think so, and then I was like, hang on, do I have beef? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have beef with Yamaha.
Because we have beef with them, but then Fabio re-signed with them.
Don't get me started. Yeah. I think that's everything for Formula E until silly season starts silly season properly. Pre-season testing's in November, so the bulky chunk of Formula E podcast talk will probably return in November. They have an all-girls test that will happen as well at pre-season testing, so that'll be interesting.
It's just so slow.
It's very slow.
Formula E love some rights.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see who goes where and is with what. Formula E has always been very open about supporting women in motorsport, both inside the car and outside the car. So,
especially considering their rookie tests used to be that you have to have one male and female driver.
Yes.
like how extreme he is.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see. But we'll get more on that when we actually know more about that, when it's more emotion. I think everyone at the moment, Formula E world, is just enjoying
The break.
Being on
break.
holiday.
Well, they're not really on holiday yet, obviously, are they? They're probably all home, disbanding from the season, and then take a couple.
I mean, I saw some of Pascal Verlaine's story of his little party he's been having with his family and his friends, and in his neighborhood, he said some kids has just written like with some like chalk on the wall, like Pascal Verlaine, like world champion for 2024, and I just find that adorable.
It's so cute.
I am like, as much of a drag fan and Mitch fan I'm really happy for him, because he's not had the smoothest of careers at all. You know, he was the one that was promised Nico Rosberg's Mercedes seat, and here he is, champion of Formula E with Porsche.
The first German world champion since Nico Rosberg?
Yeah.
Single-seater German world champion?
I would think so, yeah.
It makes sense,
Yeah.
unless Weck, but obviously that's teammates, so
Yeah, it's not single-seater, and also I don't think any German drivers that might have done. Yeah,
No.
I'm pretty sure he is the first single-seater
Fair play.
German champion since Nico Rosberg.
not first single-seater German champion, first single-seater world champion,
World champion, yeah.
because Mick won F2.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't believe I forgot the world. I'm so sorry, Formula E. It's because for some reason in my head, I still find it so difficult to register that obviously not all Formula E champions are world champions.
Yeah.
And I still don't come to terms with the fact that it is a world championship now.
Oh my god, I know this is random, if Jev wins another Formula E championship, he'll only be one world champ, like he'll have one world championship.
Yeah.
But 3 Formula E championships, which is kind of weird.
It's crazy. Wild. Yeah.
So
We
we digress from Formula E and history lessons and JQs and HWA and
Yeah, into F1, F2 and F3.